You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. I am your astro best friend and host, Brandy Williams, bringing you the weekly astrological vibes and forecast. Y'all be sure to check me out on YouTube. I'm on YouTube, not on camera, but I'm in the YouTube streets. And it is thunderstorming out here in Houston, Texas. So I'm gonna put a little thunderstorm in the background so y'all can vibe with me. Okay. So this week is our monthly gardening week. We have a new moon in Aries, April 17th, where the sun and the moon are gonna be together at 27 degrees of Aries. And we're planting those seeds this week, taking some steps in the dark with our dark moon towards a possible new beginning of who we want to be, where we want to be, all the things, so that we can emancipate ourselves from other people's expectations or what society says we should be. We're on to something new. So the vibes this week may feel slower, but it's going to quickly increase and heat up for us with all of these planets and this energy in the sign of Aries, building right up into that new moon. So a lot of hands on deck with that new moon. So let's talk about it. Monday, April 13th, we have Mars, which is the planet of war, action, assertion, standing on business, conjunct Neptune, the planet of dreams and spirituality and creativity and romance and compassion, but also delusion and romanticizing things. It's going to be at 2 degrees and 39 minutes of Aries. And there is some question mark vibes, but also some deep intuitive hits in the air this week. Mars is in his home sign of Aries and is the host of this new moon. And Mars is usually very fiery in Aries. He is a warrior, very action packed. But as we enter this week, Mars is going to immediately come into contact with Neptune. That's going to dampen his energy. It's going to throw a little ocean water on his fire, right? So, Neptune is a very dreamy and spiritual planet. It sedates the energy that it touches, it refines and it dissolves things. It also obscures the energy that it touches. So when these two get together, the energies are going to blend. On the physical level, we could feel kind of exhausted, fatigued, just a little hazy, but also a little angst because of that Mars fire. So this is what I like to call tired and wired. But there are some question mark vibes of what we should be doing. So under the surface, it could feel like there's something I need to do. I need to take care of something. I got little completed tasks everywhere, but nothing really feels done, which could be a bit frustrating this week. There's something that we definitely have to take care of this week, but we could just be confused coming into the week of what that actually is. We could feel distracted, hungover, because when Neptune is in the mix, we tend to become increasingly affected by certain substances, drugs and alcohol and things like that. So you just want to be careful when you are dealing with the substances or even taking certain medications. It could have like some kind of reaction, but this is also going to have us feeling distracted, maybe from other people, the things that other people want us to do. We could feel kind of burdened, but then we could have these insights and these dreams or just downloads of how we are distracting ourselves or self-sabotaging or getting in our own ways with certain behaviors, addictions. Perhaps we are with this Aries energy wanting to take quick action on something, but it may not be the right action. So yeah. When Neptune gets in the mix, it could have a dampening on the mood, dampening on the energy. So we could have this melancholy, depressive feeling, but also it could be like a victim mentality. We want to just watch out for any of that, just because it's not going to be very empowering to what we have going on this week. Because there's some things that need to get done, but we could be having some mindset drama, especially because Mercury is going to be entering the chat. So we want to pay attention to our thoughts and what we are taking action on that could be a little too hasty. Think something through. Be very weary of the red flags this week. Neptune brings the scammers. If something doesn't sound like is really legit. You want to make sure you're getting a lot of clarity on anything that you are trying to invest or embark in, and you just want to cut through the bullshit. It sounds a little flaky, a little foggy. We need clarity this week. Definitely want to check the fine print before taking action on something, which is why Neptune is slowing Mars down, because Mars is a act first, think later type of energy. I think that the energy can also be very muddled this week. So we may see, even in the news, people having these maybe religious or spiritual combats. It could be conflicts online. We could be getting into arguments with people about our beliefs and the things that we stand on. So you just want to be careful of, any crusading, we'll kill you for Jesus type energy, but just also having these strong convictions and beliefs, or assuming that somebody meant something that they didn't mean, because the mind is a little watery, and so is our energy. So we could be acting on something that we're not very clear about, and just acting on something in haste. So you just want to be aware of assumptions, and you know going off on people that could lead to rage breakups and rage quitting and arguments and being mad at the wrong person for the wrong thing. Understand what you're fighting for and what you're actually mad at this week. That could be a little foggy. And also, yeah, avoid hot water, avoid burning things, avoid not avoid, but be careful. If you're boiling something, be careful with hot water, for the potential of burns. Be careful drinking. Definitely be careful on the road, especially because there's so much Aries energy. Now, by Tuesday, April 13th, Venus in Taurus is going to sextile Jupiter in Cancer. And this is a very beautiful, beautiful grounding energy. In the midst of some questionable energy and some questionable ass people this week, who are your safe spaces? Be intentional about your energetic supply and what you are giving energy and attention to, and connect with the positive people in your life, people who are mutually receptive and resourceful, and who nurture you and pour into you like you pour into them, and also bring your own safety. We don't actually need other people to create safety. It is definitely a plus, but can you be a safe space for yourself this week? Can you balance action and rest? Do just enough work, take just enough action on something, and then also get enough rest. Pause, come back to it. There's no need to try to create the whole system this week. That's not the energy that we're in right now. We're in a starting phase. There could also be some new insights when it comes to income or opportunities or investments. Remember, we don't have all the steps. We don't know all the steps yet, but that doesn't mean we don't get to start and take a small intuitive action step, because there's a new opportunity for a lot of us. And, you know, with a sextile with between Jupiter and Venus, it's waiting on our free will to accept the opportunity to do something. So don't be afraid of entertaining a new idea, or asking a couple of questions about something new, or taking the first steps to a commitment, a new sign on, or something like that. Maybe a new position, maybe this is a new income stream, maybe it's a new relationship. Don't be afraid to take those first steps this week. The universe has our back. It knows something that we don't know. So do just enough. And then ground in the present moment and return any whack ass vibes and expectations back to sender. Nurture your safe spaces. Okay. By Wednesday, April 14th, Mercury in Pisces is going to sextile Uranus in Taurus at the 29th degree, the graduating degree. That is bringing a sudden realization of what needs to end, of what is just not good for us, not healthy for us. And there's something that needs to end for our own good. And this could be connected to some kind of pattern, mindset pattern, habit, addiction. But we realize that there's something that we have probably suspected, or is at a point where it needs to be attended to, and we're realizing that. We're realizing that through maybe a sudden unexpected health issue or just something. And then later on that day, Mercury is going to leave Pisces and enter into the sign of Aries, where Mercury is fired up. It's got some new energy, right? It's got some new fuses underneath the hood, and this is where we are going to be thinking about our own journeys and our own personal development more, and wanting to take steps into a new direction that really helps us and that revitalizes us. And this could be something to do with our health and our own projects, but the things that we want to come out into the world and do our own leadership and just being our own authority, So with that that new power up, Mercury could be feeling a little aggressive, maybe wanting to speak up and speak out on something. Somebody got Mercury messed up. Somebody got us messed up when Mercury's in Aries, right? And in Pisces, we're kind of thinking about it. We're brooding. We're going back and forth. We might be ruminating. And when Mercury gets in Aries, we're gonna say that shit. The tongue becomes a sword. The tongue becomes an AK-47 when it gets into that Aries energy. However, Aries ain't the type of energy to think about stuff. Okay, that's his partner across the pond. Aries is gonna speak first, and it's gonna speak reckless, and then it might think about it later, right? So as an adult, we don't really want to do that. Oh, that's so cringe to have to backtrack and say, I'm sorry. Notice you had your foot in your mouth. Notice that you spoke on something, you didn't have all the information. And if you misspeak and say something mean and hurtful to somebody, you should go back and say something. It's just the right thing to do, in my humble, not so humble opinion. You should definitely be able to apologize if you've misspoke to someone. But here is the astrology to remind you to think before you speak so you don't have to do none of that shit. If you are speaking before thinking, you are not speaking from a sober mind. Maybe that could be a mantra this week. Speak from a sober mind, okay? And then by April 16th, we're going to have 3 different transits that day. Sun conjunct Chiron in Aries, Mars in Aries, sextile Pluto in Aquarius. We're going to have Mercury conjunct Neptune in Aries. Okay, so just a few things to note about that astrology on the 16th. Mercury conjunct Neptune is kind of like Mars conjunct Neptune, but except this is the mind. So the mind is being met with some dissolve, some confusion. There could be things being said that we take a certain way. There could be things actually being said that we took the right way. There could be certain actions that people are taking, and we kind of pick up on the intuitive undertone of something, but we could also be taking things the wrong way. We could also feel like we heard something that was actually not said because Neptune dissolves and confuses, and Mercury is the mind. So we got a little foggy clarity right here. We're just unclear, we're uncertain, because that's what happens. And Neptune also brings creativity and romanticism and the arts, and wanting to make beautiful things. So we could also be seeing some really good ideas and creative insights, and just having some beautiful writing opportunity. This is maybe a good time to write something very nice that could that could be about something, right? But so let's talk about the other astrology on that day. So perhaps today we take something as an attack, a personal attack. We feel offended, we're triggered, right? And then here's Chiron and the Sun in a conjunction, which is a Chiron Kazemi, which means Chiron is being revitalized by the Sun, and he's realizing something because he is in the midst of this full illumination from the light of the Sun, and that could be bringing into our awareness a wounded sense of self when it's in Aries, because Aries is the self, right? A wounded identity. So there could have been situations in your past that have facilitated self-doubt, where perhaps were told that you didn't do something right. Perhaps you were ridiculed, or things happened where it made you want to be small because you were told that you were doing too much, or maybe you were afraid of doing too much because intuitively you picked up on how that made other people treat you. So you've been playing it small. Something this week could remind you of that, make you feel like you want to shrink down, right? At an extreme case, the Sun conjunct Chiron could really show us how we've grown through something, and how what other people think of us was their own shit, and we're actually quite amazing. So amazing that we might be the next prophet to walk on water. That's an extreme going the other way type of situation, just extreme self aggrandizing. And so here's another nudge to pause and check our mental situations, our vibes, our inner narrative before we decide to act or believe something or double down that something is the truth when we may not be certain that that is what it is. There's also likely to be a lot of competitive energy when all of these planets are in Aries. But remember, it takes two people to compete. And you, my friend, got shit to do this week. And this is where Mars and Pluto's sextile comes in handy. So, we have Pluto in Aquarius. It's going to be there for another 17 something years. Mars is going to be here for a little hot minute, couple of weeks in the sign of Aries. And they're getting together in a nice mutual conversation where you got to put in a little work, but we're going to work together. And this is going to come in handy because first off, it's going to give you the ability to peep game. You're going to be able to peep the undertones of some shit, right? It's going to also give you the energy to do something and tackle some things and to be in your own zone. So that's good. Some people going to be on some weird shit this week and next week, and that's their business because everybody's experiencing this energy in a different way. Everybody is actually having some stuff happening where they are trying to anchor their sense of self. But that's their business. If they're acting weird, they don't have nothing to do with you because you got shit to do. So do me a favor. Run an assumption by a trusted friend this week. A trusted family member, someone you know has your back, who's an advocate for you, who sees the good in you. If you're one of my sacred girls, you already know the vibes. Your reading about to be delivered in a couple of days. It's on the way. And that's going to be speaking to where this new moon energy and these transits are playing out for you directly and how it's communicating with your own personal astrology. So, y'all already got the thing happening, but yeah, anybody else, you want to really run it by a friend. You can even text me. And I'm going to text y'all too, because you know what? The astrology hits me right in the head sometimes. And then we have our new moon in Aries, April 17th. And we are throwing some seeds in the Aries garden that is initiating a very powerful start. There's a lot of planetary conversations happening with this new moon, and they're going to be new intentions. We may be inclined to take bold steps to initiate something, and there could feel like this sense of urgency all week. But this is still a new moon, even if it's in Aries, even if it's fiery and action packed. And the sky is dark, so we're taking these steps and we're taking them in the dark, but we have the courage to take a step in the dark, and that's really important with the energy of this new moon. But this is only the beginning phases of something. This is not the I'm gonna build Rome overnight in the dark phase. Okay, this is not a full launch. This is not us telling too many people about what we got going on and what we're trying to get started, because whenever we're beginning something, whenever we're gestating something, we want to protect our baby from infection, the infected thoughts and opinions and suggestions of other people, especially the people who don't really never clap for you. But even the people who clap for you, them claps could be at the hands of some haters. Okay, you might see some revelations of that too coming up soon. But this new moon conjunct Chiron and Aries is showing us who I'm becoming and how it's connected to what I've been through. And how what I've been through has enabled me to bear a great wisdom if I choose to see it that way. If I choose to see what I've been through as medicine, the wisdom of perseverance through heartbreak, loss, endings, being told no. This is the part where they say God will take the bad and turn it around for our highest good. Okay. But anyways, guys, there's something new. There's a new start. There's a new seeding point. But we want to understand that Aries is starting power. Aries is not necessarily the staying power and the see it through to the end power. That's Taurus's job. And the sun is going to actually move into Taurus next Sunday on the 19th. I'll tell you about it later. That's all I got for this week. Just a little recap. Watch your assumptions this week. Beware of question mark energy, assumptions, religious or belief based arguments, people doubling down on their opinions and their convictions and their dogmas. Be aware of that Aries tendency to shoot first, think later. By shooting, I mean speaking, but Mars definitely deals with violence and guns and bullets. So be very careful on the road. Be very careful of getting into arguments with people because it could go too far too fast, and it's something that will dissipate very quickly, and there could be a lot of guilt and remorse behind actions being taken. out of haste and anger this week. If you have an assumption or you think something is strange or you have an impulse to act, be like Libra and run that by a trusted and well-meaning advocate before you execute something this week. And that's all, y'all. Thank you for being a friend. Oh, I love you all. If you are interested in my coaching program, you want an astrologer life coach friend on your team, I'll leave a link for you to book a 15-minute free consultation. If you want a general reading, I got a link for that too. Otherwise, I'm going to see y'all next time. Bye. You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast.